What's up, everyone? Welcome to this episode of Over the Top Rope. As you can see, my guest, my man, Josh Breezy. How are you doing?
Good, man. How are you today?
I'm good, man. I've been keeping up with you for a while, and then when you said you were ready to hop on, it was a no brainer, man.
I appreciate that. Yeah, man. I've seen you doing everybody else, and I was just like, I got to get on the show.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you asked, and like I said, it was no brainer. Definitely glad to have you.
All right, glad to be here.
And one of the very first thing I wanted to bring up is a little bit of it's outside of wrestling and outside of collecting, but you just recently became a dad.
Yes, yes, I did. My beautiful daughter, Leilani.
How's that been so far?
It's definitely been interesting ride. Not at all what I expected. Actually, I thought it would be a little bit worse. I mean, huge shout out to my wife who's doing most of the work. At this point in time, I'm kind of just playing tag part. She's taking the heat, but yeah, no, she's doing a great job, and I'm just happy to be here at this point. Really.
That's good, man. I'm glad to hear things are going well. And were you saying that it wasn't quite as bad as you thought it would be? That's something I don't think I've ever heard when it comes to a new parent. So that kind of warms my heart a little.
Yeah, it's just everybody was so, oh, you're not gonna get any sleep, you're not this, you're not that. And I'm getting way more sleep than my wife is, but even I feel like she's getting more sleep than we both expected. We've been blessed that our daughter just sleeps all day and then wakes up to eat and then goes right back to sleep. So
The kind
it's
of life we kind of wish we all had.
right. Jeez.
And you've actually got your first match coming up since becoming a father. Hey, are you going to approach things a little bit differently now that you got a little one to keep in mind?
So I just actually had it the other on this past Saturday at
Okay.
WSW. It was just a rumble. I didn't really do much.
Mhm.
Came in, threw a couple punches, couple chops, took a couple bumps, got out of there. It was a great time. Got to meet Alpha. That was cool. Um, but yes, definitely, I feel like my matches moving forward are going to be a lot different.
Mhm.
I really want to, instead of just doing it, I really want there to be a story outside of just, oh, he's a dad now, he's taking less risks. Like I kind of want it to be a story similar to, I hate that I have to say this, but similar to like when Matt was trying to make Jeff take less bumps, like something along that line of like, because all the time in the locker room, like I would do a swan off the top
Mhm.
to the outside at Pro South, and then climb up to the top of the thing, and it's like for what? And then like John Rosario Grillo would always tell me like, "Hey, bro, you're gonna kill yourself one of these days for 50 people. Like, relax, to grab a hold." And then even in the locker room, people would be like, like it's great that you're doing this, and like the fans love it, but for what? Like there's so
Yeah.
many other things you could do in a match to get a similar reaction that doesn't involve possibly killing yourself. So dang, we're gonna get we're gonna get flagged for me saying that. For possibly being
No,
injured.
you're good.
Um for possibly injuring yourself. So I feel like if there's a road we could take to get to tell the story of why outside of just, hey, you're a dad now, I think it
Mhm.
could really be something interesting to follow, just because I am somehow known for taking these big spots, and I kind of painted myself in a corner that I really didn't want to paint myself into,
Yeah.
being like, it was already bad with the face paint and the swanton as the finish, but now it's just like, now you're just jumping off of everything. It's like, I really don't want to. I was actually thinking to myself in that when I was getting ready for this, and I was like, I really hope he asks me about everybody just calling me, or like about how I feel as a wrestler. And I hate that I get the rap of a Hardy Boy wannabe or whatever people want to paint me as, because I paint my
Mhm.
face similar, or I do a swanton, and it's like every wrestler pulls from places like the Guns. Their dad is Billy Gunn, but they're cosplaying HBK, and that got them over. And it's like
Mhm.
everybody does a super kick, everybody does a spear, everybody does a choke slam. And it's like,
Yep.
why is it only a problem when I do a swanton? Why is it? 'Cause I don't dress like these. Only thing I do is paint my face, and I only do
Right.
half my face. And I don't sit there and copy like I know there's some wrestlers that I see on Twitter that line for line copy Jeff's face paint. And
Mhm.
like they do the fake eyes and everything like that. And I don't do that. I sit there and you can watch on my TikTok. I start with a blank gold canvas and just kind of create. And so I don't understand why I get this rap of being just like a cosplay wrestler or whatever they want to say. Because I did the same 12 weeks at the Nightmare Factory that everybody else did. I go
Mhm.
through the same things, but I was living in my car for several months, traveling back and forth from North Carolina to Atlanta just to train on the weekends and just to be a part of the Nightmare Factory still. Like I was door dashing during the day or in between training sessions to get the money to keep funding my training. Like people don't see that and they just see, oh, he collects action figures. Oh, he's just cosplaying the Hardy Boys. And it's like I put in way too much work.
Mhm.
I'm not the greatest wrestler by far, and I should be training a lot more than I do. But for people to sit there and kind of downplay what I do just because I'm not wrestling a Daniel Bryan style match, or I have patent leather tights. It's
Yep.
like, come on. It's like that's not even what wrestling is. You look at any of the top guys in any company. I don't think don't or MJF wears tights. John Moxley doesn't wear tights. Roman Reigns and the Usos don't wear tights. Sami Zayn doesn't wear tights. Kevin Owens doesn't wear tights. Why is tights and boots such a necessity to to be a pro wrestler in 2023? It's really not. Sorry.
I No, yeah, and I'm so like you could have went on that rant for another like 10 minutes and I would have been just fine with it because it shows that you're passionate, it shows that you care, it shows that you want to be taken seriously. And I've said this before, I've said this in several interviews. In 2023, you can't really do anything in wrestling that has not already been done before. You can probably take the time to really uh, cultivate something in your head that hasn't been done before, but you're going to have to think about it. And you're really going to have to think about it hard. And so for people to say, "Oh, you're like the Hardys, you dress like the Hardys, you look like the Hardys," it's just like okay. And like you were saying, it's like you threw 27 super kicks last night, and the Young Bucks threw 24 the night before. So it's like six of one, half
Exactly.
dozen of another kind of thing. And it just, I mean, I don't get that kind of uh, tribal mentality, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like, and the reason I don't wear tights is I don't feel comfortable with tights. I've worn tights before. I don't feel comfortable. I would rather wear the gear that I have. I feel like it represents me as a person way more than playing a cosplay pro wrestler and getting tights made. Also, the people that make tights, no shots at them because they deserve every penny. Be like $300 for a pair of tights, or I could go get some really cool fire multicolor camouflage ripped gold here splatter paint jeans for $30.
And I mean, and that's what I'm saying. And I know there are guys out here traveling 6 8 hours to make 25 bucks, and there's guys out here driving 15 minutes making 200 bucks. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's got to be what works for you, what makes sense for you. You know what I'm saying? Because every wrestler is different. Every wrestler handles themselves different. So for someone to say you should A, B, C, or D, it just I just don't get it. And just like from the outside looking in, it's like I just don't get it.
Yeah, it really it amazes me because whenever I've been given the chance, whether it was the Nightmare Factory live show or the first showcase, with the first showcase, perfect example. I come out in black jeans that I put the Nice Guys logo on the side, a ripped shirt, the purple headband, the half face thing. Me and Jacob were over as the Nice Guys in the first 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that we didn't win that match kind of deflated the whole room. And shouts to TSF because like Cody said, because we were supposed to win that match. QT had us winning, and Cody was like, "You can't give them this big entrance, the thing, and then just give them the win. They're gonna
Yeah.
get over. TSF has to go over, which is the 100% right call. But for the fans at ringside, were Jade ringside, like 10 and 5 were ringside, like AEW guys were ringside, and then plus our friends and family and some other trainees and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
we were over. Like if you watch that match back, people like the false finish were with the elbow and the swanton, the double count 1, 2, and they kick out. Big pop, like biggest pop of the night. And it's like, so we did that. I'm not wearing tights. Jacob's wearing boxing boots. Who cares? It's not about tights. It's not about wrestling boots. And it's like, and then even in Pro South, every time I wrestled some really bad matches when I returned to Pro South just because I was rusty. No matter what, it was me and Aaron Dallas. No matter which one of us came out, we got a huge pop every single time. And like you said, I was driving 8.5 hours to Pro South to make $20 that I would just go spend at Waffle House after the show. Like I was driving 8 hours there, 8 hours back just to go eat Waffle House, basically. And I was getting over. So it's like, and I never the closest thing to wrestling gear I have is my jacket that I made myself. So it's
And
like
there's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all.
exactly, but some people just have this mindset of you need to, and I get it, you do need to look the part per se.
Mhm.
But what is the
But
part?
yeah, but that doesn't mean you've got to go out and find the guy that made Macho Man's gear and reach out to
Mhm.
him and spend 2 grand on a little something. I
Yeah,
don't mean that.
exactly. Exactly. Like I get looking the part, and if my gimmick was being this fantastic pro wrestler, Daniel Bryan, Bret the Hitman Hart style pro wrestler, I 100% should be wearing boots and tights. It's not me. I don't do a lot of actual wrestling. I'm not good at it. It's not my forte. I'm good at entertaining. I could jump off things. I really don't care. I will do a cage match, a ladders match, whatever. Like I want to entertain the crowd. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna pull. I feel like it's much more relatable for a guy to pull up in some jeans and Jordans, beat the shit out of somebody, or beat the mess out of somebody, than it is. Oh, this guy's coming down oiled up, and
And
it's just not me. And I don't know.
and and people can it, I always say this, I've always said this, the crowd can tell when you're not being you or when you're not putting 100% in or you're just there to get your 20 bucks and leave or you're just there because QT's on the show or and you just kind of want to
Mhm.
get in front of him and do something. The crowd can tell. The crowd can tell when you go off script on your promo. The crowd can tell when you slide into the ring to call somebody out to go into business for yourself when it's not, part of the night. The crowd can
Exactly.
tell.
Hmm. If there was ever a day where Josh Breezy came out in some tights and wrestling boots, people would be like, "Yo, what happened?" It's like perfect example actually is Trevor Eon.
Mhm.
He was on Mark with none of his gimmick stuff, and it was kind of like defeating to me because I know how much he puts into the masks that he wears, the headgear, the big jackets, the whole gimmick, and just like because he's on Dark, they kind of like stripped it down, and it was just like
Mhm.
he still got to do his move set, and he was still him, but it was just kind of sad to see him stripped down like that. And they
Yeah.
try to do that to Carly Bravo too, but he's just gonna get he's just gonna get over it. You can't turn it down. So
Yeah. Yeah. I saw him. He came to Greensboro for a show a few months back, and it was good to see him in person. And you're you're absolutely right about your assessment on Carly.
yeah, it's just like the first couple matches he wrestled in on Dark. He didn't have the glasses. He didn't have the big jacket and the swag. Like it was like they tried to just take all the swag off of him. But then
Yeah.
like in just in who Carly is, like Yeah, there's no way to turn. Even when it's turned down, it's turned up. So he was, and now he's on Ring of Honor,
Hmm.
full Carly, and is getting over. And
Yep.
I
And
don't blame
and I think that's the name of the game is you can absolutely connect with the crowd and leave an impression on the crowd without having $400 tights and $300 boots and that kind of thing. And that's what I think a lot of people don't, especially a lot of fans. I blame the fans for like everything in independent wrestling, and I think a lot of the fans they don't go because they want to be told a story. They don't go because uh, they want to see the next man up. They just go because they want to see somebody do like a 460 onto a table or something like
it.
that. And that all comes down to, I mean, you can do that in like gym shorts and some Jordans, you know.
Yeah, as long as the character allows, I don't understand why there's ever a problem.
I think that's a very good way to put it.
Yeah.
I think that's a very good way to put it. And I kind of don't want to bring it up now, but as you can see, I'm a big, wrestling collector and just collector in general, all kinds of shit. But your Hardy Boys figure collection is like every time I see it, or like every time like I go to your page, it's like I go to wrestlers. This is gonna sound so creepy, but I go to wrestlers' pages just so it pops up more on my own because of the new algorithms and everything. Like
Hmm.
for the longest time, Hunter Knott did not. After Elon took over, Hunter Knott did not pop up on my for you page or following page or whatever. And so I was just like, I would go to his like profile every now and then and just like kind of look at what he had going on, but also get him on my algorithms. But every time I see your Hardy Boy collection, man, it's like nothing short of amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's definitely it's I haven't since I moved to Florida, it's been in storage actually, and it's really kills me to know that it's just sitting in storage. But it's definitely it helped me through a really dark time just through COVID and then everything that went down and just the having the collection and then not even having the collection but getting recognition from people like you or regular people, Hardy was fans, and then like Matt Cardona, Brian Myers, and then Matt
Hmm.
Hart himself. It's just like, okay, I didn't do this for nothing. Like I don't just have a whole bunch of action figures in a room for nobody to care about it. Like it's funny because when I had it set up in North Carolina, everybody was like, "Yo, it's not even like a collection; it's like a museum." And so like
A thousand percent.
when people would come over and look at it, they'd be like, they didn't want to like touch anything or move too fast and knock something over. And they're like, this is like crazy. And like, it really was like a museum, just all the free time I had during COVID, getting unemployment. And I was just making custom entrances and rings and all these cool things. And I had it so set up nice. And it was just like, if you could just picture like the Hardy Boys careers in action figure form, that's exactly what it was. And one of the best things I actually had a really good time is when so after the 12 weeks at the factory and the showcase and everything, I actually drove straight from straight from John's house because I stayed there the night of the showcase. I drove straight from there to my grandma's up in North Carolina for the holidays, and
Hmm.
up in Long Island for the holidays, excuse me. And then after I think after New Year's or like the couple days before New Year's, I drove down and I took everything down. And I was like, for the next couple of days, I'm just redoing the whole room. And I was
Wow.
taking down I took down the shelves, I took down everything, and then I reorganized everything to where it was like Mattel right here, Jax on this whole side of the room. And it was just fun to just kind of just fall away from everything that was going on in my own life and just fall into these action figures. And it was really cool. I actually just found it's funny, a few probably like last year around June of last year, I was going back and forth with Cardona about if there was a Raw Rage stage set. It's like this big
Hmm.
set. It comes with the Raw stage and everything. there was one with Jeff in it, because there was like a really grainy picture on Google that might have been Jeff, but it might have been Chris Jericho. And I was like, I don't think so. Because if you type it in Jeff Hardy Stage of Rage, nothing comes up. But if you just type in Raw Stage of Rage, this one picture comes up. And he like, no, I've seen it before. It's Jeff. And I was like, no, I don't believe you. Found it on eBay. It was $26 for the whole duration of the bid. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna snipe it at $50. It was like 51.25. Put in, boom, high bidder with like 4 seconds left. Refresh the page. It's $100 now. I'm like, mother. So then I was like, all right, you know what? They probably went 150, 175, and I ended up winning at like 174.26 or something. But still, even that is a smooth steal of a price, because I ended up sending it to another Hardy guy. Hardy, he has every Matt Hardy figure.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent it to him. I was like, look what I just got. And he was like, bro, that's a great steal. Because I paid a smooth $250 for that. So I was like, all right. And that just got shipped out yesterday. So that should be here. And it's funny because I just been getting these grails. Like they just keep popping up randomly. I don't know if you saw it on Instagram. I just got like the Insurrection UK exclusive set where it has like a Jeff Hardy in it. And I just been finding all these grails. And that's all I really need left now. People ask me all the time, what do you even need anymore? And I'm like, honestly, the only things I need are either probably never gonna happen because they were just something you got for $20 at Toys R Us and ripped open,
Yeah.
or it could happen, but it's $5,000 like the unreleased Jeff Hardy Elite One. I think the cheapest one I just saw in a while was $5,500. It's crazy.
But still, though, I think it's extremely impressive that you kind of are as close as you are to like finishing, the set, so to speak, or whatever, because and especially for guys that have been in wrestling longer than like 5 or 6 years, and so they've got figures all the way back into like the 90s and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, it's absolutely impressive, man. And the recognition you got for it is like well deserved.
Yeah, it's tough. Especially, I was just thinking the other day once Jeff Hardy gets his figure for AEW, he's gonna have a WWF, a WWE, a TNA, an Impact Wrestling, and an All Elite action figure, and it's like it's just mind blowing. I just picked
Yeah.
the tag team with the most action figures ever, I guess. But it's better than John Cena because John Cena's got way too many to be a completist. I think My Damn Toys is a Mattel completist, and he's got like a whole wall of just John Cena's.
And I imagine some of those John Cena's are up there in price.
Mm-hmm.
That's just, but it's also I can respect it as well because I live in North Carolina and I grew up in North Carolina, and the Hardy Boys, they're basically when you think of like North Carolina, you think of the Hardy Boys. They're very much staples around here. They were a big part of the reason that I got into wrestling back in the day, and it's just being from North Carolina, I think I can respect it a little more.
Yeah, it was cool because I was in Fayetteville, which is like 30 minutes from Cameron,
Hmm.
and Rebby was trying to set up a time to come actually see it, like in person, like her, Matt, and everybody. We could just never make it in time, and then I ended up moving. So it was like, damn. And then, fun fact: right before COVID hit, she actually agreed to shoot a music video for me, and we were putting it together, and then boom, the whole world just shut down, and I was like, oh,
Wow.
yeah, I got the deets on Twitter. We were going back and forth for in my head, we were gonna shoot this really cool, kind of like because of the theme of the song, I was like, no brainer, I should try to reach out and see if she'll do it, just because she did all the broken Matt Hardy stuff. And I was
Hmm.
like, if we could kind of get that same vibe going, this would be great. And she was like, yeah, like just send me the song and some ideas. And then boom, COVID happened and the world just shut down. So good, good times.
Man, that's like uh, two different streaks of bad luck there with them trying to come see the collection and then the whole music video thing, man. The pandemic ruined everything. It really
Yeah,
did.
man, it really did. The only thing it did was get me to be a wrestler because without the pandemic, I wouldn't have. So what happened was I had my music tour set up.
Mhm.
Pandemic happens. Album released in January. Pandemic happens in what, February or late January?
Mhm.
Whole tour gets canceled. Don't really have anything to do. I'm shooting abandoned videos just because I'm getting $700 a week, sit at home, do nothing. And then I think I saw the Nightmare Factory was whatever starting
Mhm.
up, and I think I just applied, and then I forgot about it. And then I was actually going to go to Firestar in Greensboro,
Yep.
and I was on my way there for the first day of training, and QT actually called, or I think he texted me, and I called him. I think he texted me, and I pulled over into like a church parking lot, and I called him, and he was like, "Hey, somebody canceled. I know it's last minute, but we have an opening if you want it." And I like yeah, I gotta think about it because like where am I getting this money from last like a week before? So then I drove home and I thought about it and I called him back. I was like, I'll take it and I'll figure it out. And he was like, I know it's because it's so last minute, we could do some sort of payment plan, blah, 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 if you put as much down. And thankfully I was getting my unemployment still. So I was like, all right, yeah, I could do that. So that's how that happened. So while there was a lot of bad things that happened in the pandemic, wrestling came out of it. And then I was
Kind of
able to
the
use
silver lining in there.
yeah, I was able to use the I'm a pro wrestling thing to get my wife to let me buy her coffee.
Oh, okay. I got you.
She's downstairs in the living room with the baby, so I had to just look over the balcony.
I mean, that's a great story, and I think that's, like, very much like one that, like, 15, 20 years from now on the, Breezy documentary, it's like, "Man, I was on my way to Firestar in Greensboro," and I'm
Yeah,
only, like I think we are 20 minutes from Firestar, and I mean, not that one training school is better than another because you do have Firestar, you've got Black and Brave, you've got Rhodes Wrestling Academy, but I don't know why I'm just a Nightmare Factory mark. I truly am. But LeBron Cozone at Firestar, man, he's got a lot of good things going on. He's got, Marcus Cross, Griff Garrison's came from there, Austin Theory came from there, and so it's like it's no like just because it's like in North Carolina and you don't really necessarily hear about it in other states or that far or something like that. He puts on great shows and he's got some talent coming out of there like right now that could very much land anywhere anytime now, and so you would have been just fine either way.
yeah. I still follow them on Instagram, and I see that their training clip of the time. And it's just a bunch of goods. Even when they get a fresh group in, it's just like wow, like they're really really up there.
Yeah, LeBron goes on. He gets some. I think it was kind of along those lines. I think it was the first time I interviewed TSF. They're like, we came into the Nightmare Factory greener than grass, and like day three, we were doing like suplexes like off the top rope and stuff. So
Yeah,
LeBron, he's like, he's right there with him, like as far as like getting you up to speed and not like, all right, you've been in training for a week now, you're in a match, go have fun.
yeah, yeah. Nah, they didn't lie about that. It was like day one was kind of just. I think we jogged a mile with Cody, and then we kind of just did some icebreakers and we learned to run the ropes. Day two was like, all right, here's how to lock up. And then day three was like, all right, suplex. It's like, okay, all right, guess I'm lifting this. But I feel like, and I don't know what it's like now, because I hear different things from different people from different
Mhm.
classes about who's there all the time and what they're doing and how they feel about it. But I think out of all the classes, I think like class nine, I think we had the best experience as far as like everybody that was there. Like I know John Cena was just at the factory like last month or whatever, and we didn't get that, but we got Shaq. Uh, so, but just from as far as Cody being there and QT being there and like them being the ones to train us for different things, I feel like we got the best overall result.
Yeah.
And then like Brandy was there a lot.
Yep.
She did a couple promo classes with us where she told me I reminded her of an Uso, and I was like, damn. And I didn't even have my face painted. Like I had like a nice dress shirt on, my white shoes, and Cody was like, wow, this is the first time I ever really like noticed you just the way that you are. And then Brandy was like, I'm just gonna cut to the chase. You really remind me of an Uso. And I was like, and she was like, it's just like the big smile and the hair. And I was like, okay, I
Yep.
get it. I was like, I get it. Okay.
I can see that, and I think there'd be worse compliments to
Oh
get.
yeah. I think it was earlier in the day where we were talking about like ring gear, and QT was like, what are you gonna wear? Like some Uso shorts? Because I told him I want to wear tights, and I was like, no. So then I was like, I don't want to be an Uso. Like I already plan on doing like the half smiley face paint. I don't want to be compared to the Usos. Like I want to be my own guy. And then she said that later that night, and I was like, well, I guess that's it. Part of this own dynasty.
Your future was decided then.
Yeah, right. And then I just wrestled for Alpha the other day. So how everything comes full circle.
I was about to say, yeah, it's so funny how wrestling has a way of bringing things back to right where they were, kind of thing.
The whole time I was standing there back behind the curtain with my half face paint, and it had to be this guy looked just like the Usos, and it had to be either another brother or like a cousin, something that was in Gorilla, and he just kept looking at me. And like I had the half face paint on that side that he's looking at, and I felt like he kept just saying like, "Hey, he a Us," like, and I was just like, they finally like counted down, and it was my turn to go, and I was like, "Thank God I'm out of there. All right, let's go."
That dude just sitting there, just like staring at you.
Is he my cousin? Like, you never know.
That's amazing. That's going to do it for this episode of Over the Top Rope. I appreciate everyone that tuned in. I appreciate you, Josh, for taking the time to hop on. And I mean, I don't think I could have gone better. I really loved how at the beginning, you touched on who you are and why you want to do this. And what you can go ahead and tell the people what you've got coming up and where they can find you.
Well, you can get yourself a little mini
I
Josh
was gonna bring
Breezzyy.
that up. Oh man, I was gonna bring that up.
The closest thing to the real thing. It's like you're in the ring. Go and get yourself. Well, pre-order shut down now, but we will be opening up an order later this summer once those pre-orders go out. But your retro style Jazzy action figure comes with a real leather jacket. Oh, almost just dropped it. There you go. Comes with a real leather jacket. Beautiful. If you're into retro action figures like the old Hasbro's or the new Mattel retros, Zombie Sailor Toys figures, perfectly in scale. Shout out to JPD Customs. He did a great job on the sculpt, and My Damn Toys did a great job on the paint. Josh Breezzyy did a great job on the decal application and the packaging. And yeah, it's really great to just have this one of my favorite matches that the gear is based off of, and the face paint is 100% accurate. I was very particular about that because the gold on my face paint is a slightly different color than the gold in my gear. So
Mm-hmm.
when he was doing that, I was like, I really need it to be accurate. Don't use the same gold. So he did that, and then all the little like lightning bolt details and things like
Mm-hmm.
that are in there. It's really cool up close and personal. So go check that out
And
at joshbreezy.com.
yeah, and I definitely meant to bring that up, and I was gonna segue to that after the Hardy collection to keep on the figure topic. But if I seen you and the first pre-sale, you had over 100 sold. Is that right?
We were almost at 100. Almost at
Almost
100.
at 100. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, because I was like, I was reading that and I was like, holy shit, that's impressive.
Yeah. And like I was telling Carly, because I was trying to see my goal here with this was to sell really well for me and then get the other Nightmare Class 1 guys like to start kind of like a line. and
Yeah.
get a 2-pack of TSF, a single pack of Carly, and it's like you guys are on TV. You'll sell 500 of them. Like I sat here one day when I got to when I looked at my numbers, I literally sat here and started drawing out like pencil sketches of a TSF 2-pack and what that would look like at a Carly single with the hat and the glasses and
Hmm.
the leather jacket. And I sent it to him, and Carly was like, "Yo, bro, I love you for this. Like, that's crazy." Like, and I was like, "Dude, you're on TV. You're on Ring of Honor right now. All these people. If you came out with a Carly action figure, you know how many people are gonna buy that? And like,
And
while the like that's crazy. And TSF too. You guys are selling T-shirts all the time. You get a little action figure for your merch table. Come on now. You're on BTE. It's a no-brainer.
yeah, and right now I think that the the figures and trading cards are a wonderful thing to invest in because obviously I'm a huge card collector, and so like even if I saw a wrestler that like I didn't quite connect with or something like that, if they've got a card at their table, I'm gonna buy it just because that's what I'm saying. That's who I am. I like collecting cards, and then at that point, that might be a good chance, while I'm handing them money or whatever to have a conversation with them, and then actually you connect with them and then be like, "Yo, like next time you're in town, like man, I'm gonna come check you out for sure." So I think
Exactly.
like the cards and the figures is like I think it's a very very good investment in this day and time, especially with kind of the figures coming back to life somewhat a little more than it was with since AEW did start doing their figures, and it's kind of like, oh, we're going to get something a little more different than WWE figures, so maybe the people that weren't into the WWE figures will are into AEW figures, and I agree with you 100%.
Exactly. Especially a lot of the fans at these indie shows are typically the older crowd. Like not old, but like 30s to 45, something in that range where they grew up on the Hasbros, like
Yep.
Hulk Hogan, Macho Man. So if you came out with this retro figure and they're coming to this show to see Carly Bravo and TSF, and you have this thing and it's right next to a Hulk Hogan figure, just show, they're gonna be like, yo, I used to have these, that's so cool. And boom, they're gonna buy it. And like you said with the cards, if I came out with a Josh Breezzy trading card right now, that's my rookie card. If I become the Undertaker level of success and you bought that rookie card because I'm somebody who's of the knowledge to say, hey, no, that upper deck WWE AW Josh Breezy card, that's not my rookie. That rookie card that I made by myself and sold at my merch table in 2023 is my
Yes.
rookie. And I'm only signing those. I will not sign another card. And that's gonna be, you've paid $10 for it at my merch table, and 20 years later you can sell it on eBay for $1 million. Like it's like I hear
And
all the time the Rock's rookie card. Which one is it? Is it this one that you peeled out of a freaking cereal box, or is it like there's so many there's like three different rookies for Christian. It's like an overseas rookie card, but then there's the American rookie card, and it's like nobody at that time really paid any mind to it.
yep.
For like I bet you Christian couldn't answer that question like, oh, which one is your rookie? He wouldn't know.
No.
So
Yeah.
it's like now's the time to invest in the future.
Yeah, and I know the wrestling card people that I'm in with on Twitter. I know you just made a ton of them happy by saying that AEW Upper Deck card is not your rookie because there's it's always been a debate what is or what is not a wrestling rookie card, but it's been a lot more prominent since MJF came on the scene because he's got a couple of limitless cards, and
Mhm.
those are considered his rookie. And people are like, no, his AEW card is rookie, and it's like, no, it's limitless. But him and Darby Allen, I think they're independent cards, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say that they're AAW and Limitless cards, I could be wrong on this, were selling because there was only like a small print run of like 25 to 30 back in like 17, 18. I think
Mm.
they were selling for like $400 or $500 on
Oh wow.
eBay. Yeah. And so that goes right back to what you were saying. And it's just like, you know, you can, give this, $10 to this wrestler, and that's going to help towards their gas, help towards gear, help towards buying more merch to sell more merch. It might go towards their Waffle House. And then at the end, in 10, 15 years, you might be able to pay a couple of bills with that card. So
Yeah,
it's a
exactly.
win-win.
That's how I look at it. Like people are like, oh, I feel like people see the price of my figure and they're like, oh, that's kind of expensive. And for $30, like it's not like I'm a big corporation where
Hmm.
I'm mass producing these at 5 cents a figure. Like I'm not making that much money and profits off of these figures. So it's like for $30 you could buy this figure, or for $40 you could buy a signed version and keep the mint in box. And it's like in 5 years you might be able to sell that for a couple $100. Like who knows? So like in all reality, like there's the chase versions of AEW figures, a limited
Hmm.
run. I'm not making more than 150 of these. So in the long run, who knows? Like you have a no matter what, you have a one of 150 at the most. Be shorter, it could be less, kind of, it depends, but I'm capping it at 150. And in 5 years, whether I'm back to doing music at a high clip or I'm doing wrestling at a high clip, it's gonna be worth something. So it's really the investment.
It's not the if, it's the when.
Exactly. Like people that have, like when I won Artist of the Year in 2020, people were like DMing me pictures of like the mixtapes that I was selling in high school for $1. They were like, "Yo, I still have this." I was like, "Well, keep it." I was like, "Keep it. Don't play it because it's terrible, but keep it." I was like, "I'll
That's
sign."
freaking awesome. I absolutely
Yeah,
love that.
man. I used to be a menace with the CDs, the blank CDs. It would be like me rapping over Eminem beats.
Yeah.
Really bad, and then I would sell them in the hallway, be like, "Hey, mixtapes $1."
I'm trying to get some cookies at lunch, $1.
Yeah, exactly. I need lunch money. Jeez.
I I did a little something similar for lunch money, but I don't think I can talk about it on here. So
Uh, I was selling candy too. I told my brother this. I was like, I used to make my grandma when we would go to BJ's. She would buy like the big variety pack of like candy, like the Hershey bars and stuff for like $10, and there's like 30 of them in there, and I would
Mhm.
sell them for $2, and now I'm making $60. And I
Yeah.
was like, my little brother one time, he was like, I tried to ask him mom for money, blah, blah. I was like, well, ask her for $20. Go get yourself a big thing of lollipops and start selling lollipops for cheaper than whatever the snack line is selling them, because people will buy them from you, save some money, and you'll make money on it. I could go on all
Yeah,
day.
man. That that hustle from day one.
Yep, always.
I love it.
Gotta be ready.
Um, yeah, man, I really appreciate you hopping on. I've got your social media links in the description of the video, and I've got them scrolling across the screen
Scrolling
down
across the
there.
room.
That's the first time I've ever done this. The first time I've ever had that little ticker going across the bottom. So, man, people can follow
That's
you.
good.
They can find out, what you got coming up, and they can figure out how to get in on that second pre-order of the figures.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate everyone that tuned in. We'll see you on the next episode of Over the Top Rope.
Awesome.
I appreciate it, man.
No problem.